This morning you must have heard many speakers, and you must have also gauged that you do a lot of things. So many areas to improve, so many areas to work on. But you don't have the time and energy to do everything and focus everywhere, right? And if you don't focus, things don't happen. I'm speaking for the top management. So we need to decide what to do first and in what sequence it has to be done. You know how important sequence is, right? If you jump from the first floor, you hear thud and then ah. If you jump from the 10th floor, you see ah, thud. Right? Sequence is important. I come from Vector Consulting Group. We develop supply chains and marketing and sales solutions for companies to gain market share significantly. And we use the philosophy of theory of constraints. Just a minute on theory of constraints. It is application of hard sciences to management. We usually think management is an art. We try to make it into a science. Science meaning it is predictable and repeatable. Okay. That's the definition of science. So I want to talk about rapid response supply chain to unlock hidden potential. It looks like a cliched statement of any supply chain consultant. So let's look a little deeper in. I'm not going to. So what we do is we build supply chains to build a competitive edge. Usually supply chains are considered as something which takes in capital, takes in costs. It's a very complicated thing. You require a lot of IT gizmos and so on and so forth. What we do is we convert supply chains into market differentiators. So you gain market share and you gain sales and you gain huge profits. So that's what we do. So I'm not going to get into all this. The most important thing, I come with an experience. Our company it's a leader in TOC consulting in the world, probably. We are a big team of 60 people, and I come with an experience of having dealt with the various components of your supply chain, which is from yarn to fabric manufacturers to garmenters to the shop. So shop floor to shop floor. And I have the distinct advantage of understanding each entity's problems. Each of the entity is trying to deal with its own problems, feeling the pressure from the other entity. But I have I happen to gain this experience of each entity knowing its challenge. So what I'll do, there is a huge area out there. So what I'll do is I'll try to deal with the product category of industry which deals with products with very low product life cycle. Longer product life cycle, it's not that difficult, but the challenges in the shorter product life cycles are much more. Getting used to this, okay? So this is your supply chain, which everybody knows, yarn, garment. There are certain peculiar features of the supply chain. Do you know that the last entity, which is the retail shop, provides the most value-added product in the eyes of the customer? Do you know who makes the least profit? And this entity also has one of the highest gross contribution, which is around 50-60%, 40-60%, the buying price versus the selling price, right? Do you know who makes the least profit? Garment manufacturer. So there are people who make more profit. But if you look at overall, the industry as a whole, this end entity is the one which makes the least profits. As a matter of fact, many of them are making losses. If they make profits, it makes news. And they have the highest gross contributions. And probably the product that attracts the customer, the most value-added product. What they do after this, when they face this situation, what do? They come to you and pressurize you for lower prices. Because that's the only source for making money. They come to you for low prices, they come to you for discounts, and so on and so forth. The entities behind are always under pressure to bring down the prices. But at the same time, we have seen so many costs are increasing and so on and so forth. So these entities, do you have a choice? You either because if you look at one of the peculiar features of these entities at the back of the retail chain, the first element is that it's generally huge capex industries. There's a lot of capex involved in setting up a plant or an entity. Now, if you have such huge capexes, you always want volume to fill it up, because a small dip in loading leads to huge losses. On the other hand, these people are now pressurizing you for reducing your prices. You are in a dilemma. Should I take this order or not? If I take this order at this low prices, I'll fill my volumes, but I don't make money. But if I don't take it, I still don't make money. And each entity is now then trying to push the other entity. The retail chains are saying, oh, you're not going to reduce your prices? Let me go to Sri Lanka, let me go to Bangladesh, let me go to this entity, let me go to... And there is always a new entrant who has put in a lot of capacity, who wants volumes, who drops the price. How do you survive in this world? Probably that's the reason for the low profits of the entities behind. How does one survive and make more money? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the flavor of our thinking through a case that we actually got results. It's a textile company. What I'm going to take is I'm going to take you through the entity which has the longest lead time, which is the fabric manufacturer. And then you can extrapolate it to your area and take it forward. And if you require more information, or we can have a discussion for the other entities. Okay? So far so good? Let's solve this conflict. Nobody's winning here. And more you don't win for a longer period of time, more is the problem for each entity. As a matter of fact, after some time, you start to acknowledge this as the way the industry works. This is the way, ये industry तो ऐसा ही है. इसमें जीना है तो these problems have to. As a matter of fact, we try to get in people who understand this nuances more. Is there a win-win out there? Is there a big win for both parties where pressure is reduced and both make huge money? Let's find out. So let's look at this fabric manufacturer. How does he make more money? One, it can only happen by two. By the way, when we talk about TOC, we try to bring in simplicity. Yeah, simplicity means what? I have done engineering from one of the best colleges in India, and I also had in the last year I took electives as automotive engineering. But if something happens to my car today and open the hood of the car, I don't know a thing about it. I can't even make out what is the problem. But you call a fourth pass mechanic, he tells you in about 10-15 minutes what's the problem. Because in his mind, all those boxes that are there under the hood, their connections are known to him. Saab ye thoda aisa karo, saab aisa karo, chalu karke dikhao, and I know the problem. That's simplicity. What is simplicity? Simplicity is understanding the environment. Simplicity is understanding the cause and effect in the various entities of the environment. We believe that there is inherent simplicity all around us. We just have to find it. Yeah. There's nothing called complex systems in this world. There is nothing called uniqueness or anything. It's about understanding that system. Yeah. So, how does a fabric manufacturer make money who has huge capex? One, capacity is fully loaded throughout the year. Simple. And secondly, if the gross contribution of the full load is much higher than before, is there any other way? By the way, a product never makes profit. It is the company that makes profit. The product only brings in the gross contribution to the company. When the total of all this gross contribution is greater than the fixed expenses, the company makes profits. No product makes profit. Product only brings in gross contribution. So when a company is making losses, think about gross contribution and fixed expenses. So if that is the case, then the only way a company is to cover its fixed expenses by the gross contribution that is coming in. So the gross contribution should be higher. If that is the case, sorry, I always press the wrong button. I'll use this. So the necessary conditions are that you need inquiries of volumes much exceeding your capacity without the pressure to drop prices. You can always bring in more volumes. Drop prices, you will get volumes. And you are allowed, so that you can then choose the product mix which gives you a better cross contribution than before. Looks very idealistic, right? Is it possible? You would love to have this situation, right? Let's see. How do we come to this situation only and only if something wrong here? Only and only if you create customer preference. That's the only way. By the way, how do we create customer preference? How do we create customer preference? I think that the only way is to solve a significant need of the customer that has so far not been satisfied. Now, what is the significant need of, for example, this is a fabric manufacturer. What is the significant need of the, let's take the case of a brand, a retail chain. What is the significant need of a retail chain? Price? Lower prices? Yes, they would love to get products from you at zero price, right? Love to do that. Is that their significant need? If you solve one element of their need significantly better than all the others, you gain a decisive competitive edge. Price, to me, is not a decisive competitive edge because your competitors can copy it overnight. And if you go that route, it's going to be a vicious cycle for you. It's an unending journey. So let's take the product, let's try to, the way to understand a significant need of a client of yours is to understand the cause and effect, the business challenges in his environment, not the way the purchaser from the department, from that company is behaving with you or talking to you. Let's look at a fashion retail chain, and this I'm talking from real life cases. Okay. You know this, most fabric suppliers are unreliable. And the buyer now has to decide when to order after having decided the fashion. What is his dilemma? If he buys early, every buyer has a open to buy, a budget. If he buys early, his budget is blocked. He doesn't have budget for the next thing, less budget. If he buys later, he might land up in a situation where his story or his drops in the retail chain is all screwed up. What does he do? Get into his shoes. The only way he now does it today, he buys early. And when the pressure of capital comes, funds come, he buys late. So he's always in this conflict of buy early, buy late. One season he buys early, next season he buys late. Zindagi hai, chalti hai. Go home tired, come back next day, start the whole journey again. Okay. By the way, what is on-time delivery? Right? Reliability. If you say, I have improved from 75% to 80%, 85%, when you go and tell the buyer of the retail, does it make any difference to his life? You are happy, you celebrate, you give awards. Does it make any difference to the life of the buyer, your customer? Absolutely not, because he still doesn't know which 15% will be late. So he plans for all 100 as before. The only way to give him confidence is to be in the high 90s. So, and whatever delays are there, they are delayed by 1 or 2, 3, 4 days. So if a supplier can go and make an offer to this buyer, I will be reliable on that date, he will surely come to you. You are solving a major problem of his. The reason why you get repeat business even in this scenario is because everybody is unreliable. The one who does it will gain. That's what I call gaining a decisive competition. So I'll come to that. The next point. There are some facts about the retail chain. 30 of the new introductions, 30% are winners, which get sold out fast. 30% got sold out during the season of 4 months. Each season is 4 months, right? Summer, winter. And 30% are duds. They don't sell. So end of the season, markdowns, and so on and so forth. Do you know when does a retail chain come to know that its products are winners? In the second or third week of the season. Have you gone to a shop? I went to Marks & Spencer to buy a very thin sweater. And what did I find? The medium, light black is not there. And I said, is it going to come? I said, no, this is what is the placed. This is what they have placed. That's it. By the way, these guys even don't know. They can't forecast which item is going to be a winner. They play blind. You ask, this retail world is searching for that elusive buyer who can predict well. One season he does it, next season he does not. Because the decision of the fashion is taken much ahead of time. And fashion trends are changing. So they believe this is what, and believe me, I talked to a CEO of a large retail chain. He said, end of the season, we get this report, same report every season, at the end of season, we see it and we cry. Why? Because we always think, what if I could have bought that more? What if I decided to buy that more? They don't know. They're playing blind. What is the impact of all this? In the second or third week of the season, you find out that this product is a hit. It just runs off the shelf. Then why don't there is a loss of sale, right? Do you know what the impact of this loss of sale on a company, say 1,000 crore company, and assume that it is making 1% PBT, which is what, 10 crores? Can you imagine if only 5% of that sale increased by identifying the winners? What will be the profit of this company? 1,000 crore means 50 crores, 50 crores, 50% is gross contribution. 50 crores will get added to the bottom line of this company. And it's right now making only 10 crores or 15 crores.
Mr. Kothekar, a gentle reminder, you have 3 minutes left, please.
Oh, sorry. So, I get carried away. So this is what happens for the winner. And if you get it once back, he can actually significantly double his profits. What is the problem? Why doesn't the buyer order it again if he sees a winner? Because the fabric lead time is huge. Right? Fabric lead time is huge, 60 days odd. And then the garment says, I am loaded, I have this queue, and so on and so forth. He doesn't order it again. So then you should say, why don't you buy more? He buys more, it becomes surplus, but it's not a winner. This is the problem. This is another conflict of the buyer. Buy shallow versus buy deep. What does he do? Can the supply chain behind, which is the garmenter and the fabric guy, solve this problem for him? If you solve this problem for him, is he willing to give you an additional price, premium? For example, you ask a 10% premium for this service. Suppose I say, you identify the winner, and I will give it to you in, say, 25 days or 20 days, because it's a 4-month season. And I'll do special efforts for that. And you ask for a 10-15% premium. What is the dent in his gross contribution? Not more than 3%, because fabric cost is only 30% of the total garment cost, the MRP. Create a win-win. You solve this problem, for that he will give something to you in return. The most important thing is that he now knows that you are the one who is giving you this service. He'll naturally give, and he doesn't know which one is the winner. So naturally he has to give more and more range to you, a wide spread to you, because he doesn't know which is going to be the winner. Volumes increase, customer preference increases. Of course, you can't say that I will do anything in short lead time and so on and so forth. I can always say, this is the capacity per month I can allocate for you, which is 10,000 meters, 20,000 meters, 50,000 meters. But you get a huge preference. And this is exactly what has happened with another textile company that we worked with, and they're working with retail chains. Yeah. So I have very little time. So what?
Thank you.
What? Just last sentence.
You're allowed.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't have time to go through the solution for how it operates in the plant, but believe me, the whole solution is implemented to give at least half the lead times, because the main base of this thinking is that the actual touch time of making the product is 10% of the total lead time, 10 or 15%. Actual touch time, if there is nothing in the factory. Where is the other 90, 85% gone? It is wasted. It's wasted in queues, it's wasted in waiting for synchronization, yarns coming, not being available, and so on and so forth. That's how the whole solution works. We have released a booklet which details out all this knowledge. You can go through that. I think this is the way forward. Create a win-win for both parties. Both of you will win, rather than each of one of you going down the other's throat to decrease each other's profits. Thank you.